Hi everyone, it's Jessica Dickerson, aka J&D, and welcome back to another video. Getting crunk. Okay, I'm sorry. So in today's video, I'm gonna be doing a book unhaul. So recently I posted my bookshelf tour and I realized I have way too many fucking books. So I'm gonna get rid of some, and I'm gonna talk to you about why I'm getting rid of some. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about ones that I have decided for sure to give away. Secondly, books that I'm kind of considering getting rid of. And then also discussing what book buying problems I have and how I plan to fix them. Like, I'm going to call it kind of the book outlet mistakes I've made. Because just because a book's cheap doesn't mean you should buy it. So let's get into it. The first few books I'm getting rid of for sure are these. I don't even know what the series is called. I think I just saw that they were a fairy tale reimagining of like Alice in Wonderland. Is it Alice in Wonderland? That evil queen, Red Hearts. You know what I mean. So yeah, it's Queen of Hearts, Blood of Wonderland, and War of Cards. I believe that's the order, or it's like this. It's these three. I don't remember what they're about. This was one of those book outlet purchases. You can kind of tell because they're marked, and I got them because they were a complete set and they were hardback, and I was trying to fill my bookshelves and catch up on all the Booktube books that I needed to read. So I just see a lot of people have these on their shelves, and I got them, and it was a mistake. I've had them for 2 years. And I probably wasted some money, which is bad, and I'm trying to not do that. And that's why I'm making this video, to call myself out on stop buying books that look pretty and that everyone else have that you don't need, Jess. So yeah, I'm getting rid of these. I'm sure someone else will completely love them. I haven't looked twice at them, sadly, since purchasing them, and it always guilts me to look at them. I'm like, someone else could be liking them, so I'm getting rid of it. Bye bye. This next series I'm also getting rid of. It's the Selection series, and you might be wondering like, oh, maybe she read it and she didn't like it. No, haven't read these. I haven't read a lot of those classic YA booktube books because I only got into booktube 2 years ago as a 21-year-old. So there's a lot of books like Twilight, The Hunger Games that I didn't read. The only books that I think were trendy that I read in a timely fashion was Divergent and The Fault in Our Stars were the only two classics, and maybe Fangirl that I read while they were popular, like while I was actually a teenager who was 16 or something at the time. So this, I'm gonna get rid of. I'm sure it's cool. I heard it's a lot like The Bachelorette or The Bachelor, which I actually hate. I don't watch those shows. I really dislike reality TV for reasons we can talk about in a later video. But yeah, so I haven't looked at this series once. I bought it because I know a lot of people loved it, and I'm sure someone else will appreciate getting these for a discounted price. So I'm gonna be donating them, and yeah, there's not much to say about that. And if, say, I get that urge to be like, I need to read this, because I know I really want to read The Hunger Games. I've heard that has actually aged well. Maybe not the fourth one that was just released, but the series. If I want to read it, I'll get it from the library, no problem. I don't think these are books that I need to own, and that's something I'm going to talk about later on in the discussion. It's like, what books are going on my shelves and how do they make me feel? And I think that's what's important. These make me feel nothing except for guilt that I am hoarding books that I'm not reading. This next book makes me kind of sad because this is actually the second time I'm getting rid of it, but it's Let It Snow by a bunch of authors, John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. So I actually had this when it looked like this, the previous style of it, and my friend wanted it and I told her no. I'm like, no, I'm gonna read it, no. Never read it. Then I unhauled it, and then I got reached out to get this fancy Netflix edition because they just came out with a Netflix movie, which I thought was very cute, and I'm definitely going to rewatch this year again. But I don't think I need to keep the book cover. I'm not interested in reading a holiday short story anthology. That's one thing I'm adding to my list. I'm not going to buy anthologies anymore. They're just not interesting to me unless it was like really impactful. I don't want any more anthologies. I don't find them to be fun to read, if that makes sense. So yeah, definitely going to give this to someone who's gonna love it. And it's really cool because it's the Netflix edition, and I am totally obsessed with Isabella Merced. She's such a good singer and great actress, so someone's gonna enjoy this. I think that was the only reason why I was holding on to this, because I'm like, she's cute. Oh. But yeah, getting rid of it, letting go of that guilt. Bye-bye. And these next few books I have read but didn't like enough to keep. This first one being one that everyone's gonna really be mad at me about for saying, and that is The Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. I feel so awful because this is literally the first like book a publisher gave me, and they were like, I think they were trying to reach out to small booktubers and stuff, and I was so excited, and I read, let me see if I still have the bookmark in it. I probably don't. Oh, I do. I got to page 358. I literally had that much left. I couldn't stand the narrative voice. The girl kept repeating herself about how she needed to do something, she needed to do something, she needed to do something, and it was just about getting her to do it. And I really dislike books that are like that, where it's like a YA book about a girl who's in an oppressive system, and it's about her being oppressed and knowing that she needs to get out of it, and then taking a really long time, 350 pages of, oh, I like need to fix this, oh, I need to fix that. But I know a lot of people love this, so I might hold on to this to try and give it away. So comment down below if you want this. I'd be willing to ship it to you. Maybe you could pay for shipping and I could ship it to you. And it has the character card, so it's very pretty. I'm just gonna take it out, I'm not gonna read this. So it's very pretty. I know the sequel's coming out too, which also makes me mad because that means this whole book, I read 300 and something pages, and there's more, and I don't want to read any more. But yeah, I know this is a debut series. I'll definitely try out her other series. I just didn't think this one was compelling enough for me to continue. Like, I really enjoyed Raybearer, and Children of Blood and Bone was pretty good, even though the sequel wasn't as exciting as the first one. So I think when it comes to these epic fantasies in YA, it really hit or miss sometimes, you know? Do you feel? Do you feel? So comment down below if you're interested in these. I think it's mega cool, and I feel very horrible for not enjoying the writing style. I think it's 100% writing style and editing, that no one caught it in editing, that it kind of sounded a little repetitive. Don't hate me, sorry. And these next two I also read. Internment by Samira Ahmed. I enjoyed this. I gave it a 3-star. I thought it focused way too much on appealing to the oppressors, in the sense of like, it's not our responsibility to change their mind, but it definitely felt like the story wasn't, like, it wasn't slightly empowering, slightly confusing the messaging, that we were constantly worried about this guy's opinion, because this is a world where, how do I even explain the story? They have banned Muslims, and they're starting to put them in internment camps. Internment, that's the whole point of the book. And it's about this girl who's in this camp, and she's trying to build a resistance, and it was just very odd in the sense that she was like one of the only people at this camp of hundreds of people willing to fight back. And in addition, the only one who would help her was this white guy who kind of liked her, kind of didn't, kind of felt bad, and it was just this really weird white savior moment thing that was happening. It was odd. I felt a little weird reading this. I was like, don't know what you're trying to get at, but I did enjoy it. Still a 3-star. I wouldn't reread it. I thought it was just okay, so I'm gonna give it away to give it to someone who might like it more. I don't think it has any purpose on my shelf anymore, so I'm gonna donate this to a local library. Ooh, this next one you guys are gonna kill me for, and it's Scythe by Neil Shusterman. Everyone loves this book. I thought it was interesting. I believe I also gave this a 3-star. So 3-star isn't bad, it just means that it was okay, and that I don't really have strong feelings of dislike or like. Nothing was wrong with this. I mean, sure, there was a pretty basic romance. The world is super interesting, and I hear that the second one, it's better when it comes to like the world building and how this world, because in this world people don't die, there's scythes that kill people, and like after you live hundreds and hundreds of years, a scythe may come and kill you when it's your time, because no one naturally dies anymore because they're that advanced. Very cool. I just feel like the story wasn't surrounding that aspect. It was all about this competition, and it just felt like really dragged on, and the writing style wasn't engaging for me. So I don't want to continue this, and if I do plan on continuing it, I'll take it out from the library. I don't think I need a physical copy. I didn't enjoy it that much, and I have hundreds of other books to read that I have enjoyed and want to move on with this series. So yeah, they don't have a place on my shelf anymore. I'm sure someone else will really enjoy this way more than I. So yeah, gonna give this to someone who will enjoy it. I don't know why I keep holding on to this book, but I think it's because I'm like, I'm gonna make a vlog about how much I dislike it or like it or whatever. Eleanor Park, Rainbow Rowell. There are hundreds of videos at this point about this book and how messy it is. I don't need to read it. I don't want to subject myself to it. I have tried to read some of other Rainbow Rowell's books, and they're not actually as engaging as Fangirl. So I think I just found Fangirl in a good time in my life where I really connected with, you know, Kath, the main character. But for this, I don't think I need to read it. I don't want to read it. I have no feelings towards reading it, and I don't think Rainbow Rowell's writing style really engages me to the point that I need to read all of her books. At one point I thought I did. I was like, I need to read all her books, and I read Landline, which I was like, okay, but it barely dipped its toe into like the feminist tones of like being a career woman and stuff, and the writing style wasn't as exciting. I think she has interesting concepts, but I don't think I need to read any problematic books just to bash on them. I just like, not about that. I'm already struggling to read enjoyable books because of the world being on fire and whatnot. So I'm not gonna put myself through this. I'm just gonna give it to someone else, and maybe someone else will enjoy it. This one was another book outlet purchase, and I think I did this because of the Asian readathon, and it's the beginnings of 1,000 beginnings and ends by a bunch of people. And I actually did enjoy the 2 or 3 stories that I read from this, but I don't like anthologies. I find them really hard to read because I just never know when the next story, like what's it about, if it's gonna grab me, so I never want to read it. Like I read Black Enough, this anthology, very cute. Don't know if I'd reread it, but I like forced myself to keep going, and I don't think I want to do that anymore. I'm keeping this because a lot of the authors I love and want to support them, and this one I want to individually buy the books of people that interest me, which I think I'm gonna start doing from now on. I'll fix that later. But yeah, instead of buying anthologies to test out different authors' writing styles, I'm just gonna buy books that interest me. You think this would be obvious by now, but oh, these next 2 are also a book outlet mistake. So I have 1 Blood Ruby and 7 Black Diamonds. Don't know what these are about. I was just buying books to buy books to fill up my bookshelves. Now they're stuffed. I have 2 full bookcases and they're stuffed. And I'm looking around and I'm like, I need to cut out the books that I'm not gonna read, that don't make me happy, that don't interest me. I'm looking at all these books and I'm like, I wanna read you, I wanna read you. And I see these 2 and I'm like, who are you again? So yeah, trying to limit purchases of books that I don't even know anything about. I have done 0 research. I am not worthy of these 2. They're gonna go to some better home that appreciates them way more than I do. And the last book that I'm for sure getting rid of is Long May She Reign, which is another fairy tale retelling. I really enjoy them, so I think that's why I kept buying a bunch of them. And it's sad because the first sentence is very cute, but I just don't think I'm going to get around to reading this in years. So I'm just gonna give her away. Someone else is gonna really enjoy her and be much more appreciative towards her than I. So I'm gonna let her go. I'm gonna let her go. I have too many books to read. I just don't look. Okay, now we have to have the discussion about why I keep buying too many books. It's a problem. It's a problem. I think this year I've done very good because I'm obviously not employed and living off my savings during this weird time. So I'm not buying books willy-nilly, but I used to order from BookOutlet like 4 times a year, and I would get like 10 books each time. And I've done that like 7 or so times. So that's just like 70 books. That's like a third of my collection that I've been collecting with no intention, and I think that's the issue. It's besides the fact that I'm buying secondhand books from a cheap place that's kind of shady, the issue of I'm buying and wasting my money on books that I'm hoarding and not reading and don't know anything about. So I think now that I've refined my tastes and I know what I like Elizabeth Acevedo and Tiffany D. Jackson and Christina Forrest, and I learned what kind of contemporary I like, and I'm still trying to figure out what kind of fantasy stories I like, but I've been really into diverse contemporary that talks about fame or loss or grief or like big emotional things. So I'm leaning more towards those purchases, so that makes sense, and I'm gonna keep getting books like that. Like my last haul, I collected like 5 books that distinctly match my interest, and I was able to buy them from an independent like bookstore and support somebody, even though it was a little bit more expensive than say an outlet, a book outlet website. I think it's a little bit more worth it because I don't think I appreciate the value of a book when I buy it for like $2. I get it, I throw it on my shelf, and I'm like, yeah. But then like I realize how many books I haven't read from that website that I purchased for dirt cheap. I think I would only recommend doing that if you've read the book already and you know you love it. Otherwise, I showed you guys tons of series that I bought together, and I haven't read them, and I've had them for years, and they were dirt cheap, but I don't know if it's because they were so dirt cheap that I didn't appreciate them. But there's also so many other books on my shelf that I'm considering getting rid of that I got for dirt cheap that I don't know if they're good. So this is the part in the video where I need advice from you guys. Do you think I should keep these books or not? Let me know. I'm gonna show you a couple. Tell me how you feel. Be honest. Help a girl out. Eden, Conquered, and Dividing Eden. Keeping these 2 because I remember these sounded very interesting and I just haven't gotten around to them, and they're very short. Let me know. Did you like these? Do you know if these are any good? If I should keep them? So far I'm keeping them, but they were more Book Outlet purchases that I haven't touched yet. Another series I kind of started buying through Book Outlet is The Wicked Saints and Truth Witch. I have Truth Witch and Wind Witch. Do you guys think I should keep them or not? I'm so conflicted because I feel like eventually I'm going to read them, but do I hoard on books for years and years and then eventually let them go and be like, I could have had more shelf space and not hoarded all these books that I have no intention of reading in the next year? Oh, it's so hard and confusing. I'm conflicted. I have Emma Mill's books. I read one of her books, First and Then, which was cute Pride and Prejudice retelling, and then I literally bought everything else. I think there's another one over here too. Yep. Famous in a Small Town. So I have Famous in a Small Town, This Adventure Ends, and Foolish Hearts. All Book Outlet purchases, dirt cheap. Haven't read them yet. I just don't know if they fit my new contemporary vibe that I like. So I'm going to hold on to these for now, and I'm hoping because I liked her first book that I like these. But I know my heart's just not racing when I see these. I'm not in love with them, so I don't know. I mean, most of the books that I have bought from Book Outlet have been, I feel like, good picks. Like there's a couple that I like think I'm going to like where is he? Oh, this one, Two Roads from Here, I got from Book Outlet that I think it's going to be an interesting contemporary. Do I remember what it's about exactly? No, but I know I got it from Book Outlet and I think I'm gonna like it. But yeah, I'm definitely, I don't want to get rid of too many books because then I'm like, what if I would have enjoyed that book and then I gave it away and now I don't remember what it is and then I'll never see it again. That'd be sad. But yeah, let's talk about what I want on my shelves and why I think I'm happy to be purging, but still kind of conflicted. Obviously, you guys can tell I'm emotional. If you've made it this far into the video, you should comment down below this emoji. You're the real one, thank you. And check out below the link to see the Seasonal Pages bookmarks. She is an independent bookshop and she's running, and she has all these cute little bookmarks. You definitely need to check her out and support her. We love supporting our Black women who own businesses. Yes, so go check her out. Links down below. I do get a small commission if you use the link but you also support a small business during these crazy times. So I highly, highly recommend it. Okay, let's talk about it. So, I don't know, when I was unpacking all my books, and because I haven't had all of my books on a shelf in a very long time, because even in my dorm room I had books kind of scattered everywhere because not all of them fit on the shelf. So I had some under my bed and piled everywhere. Now that I'm trying to have all my books in one distinct place, I just started to realize, like, wow, there's a lot of books that I haven't read that I don't remember anything about, and I'm not interested in reading them right away, which is very sad. Hurts to say, ow, but it's just true. So I'm definitely working towards only buying books now that I thoroughly research and look into, which is why I like having booktubers who have similar opinions to me but also different, so I also kind of know what to expect from either end. Like, if someone doesn't like that it has a love triangle, I might like it because it has a love triangle, if that makes sense. So just keeping my eyes and ears open to recommendations and stuff, and not buying things just because they're discounted. And I know this is going to be, I guess, a really big, people might hate me for saying this, but I collected a lot of cheap books, and then I realized, like, oh, I should have just saved my money. Like, I got excited that it was $3, but then next thing you know, I'm buying 13 $3 books and I don't read any of them. So I think I'm just gonna be a lot more intentional about the books that I buy, and I'm gonna try and track and see what books I get every time I get books. I'm trying to keep it between 5 to 10, which might seem like a lot to some people and very little to some people, but I want to be more intentional with my bookshelves, and I look through it to see what series I'm continuing on and what authors that I will always purchase books from. Like Nick Stone is an author I'm always buying books from. The Last Magician, this book here, is a series I want to finish because I read the first 2. I have all the DC Icon books behind me. So there's a lot of books series that I'm still reading and still enjoying that I want to collect that are, you know, still having installments put out. But there's also those few series that I want to get into that are older, and they have lots of books. Like, I have a ton of Sarah J Maas books, haven't read a single one. My sister gave them to me, and I kind of feel bad holding them because I'm like, it's gonna be so long until I get around to reading them. But I think those are okay because those were gifted, so it's still secondhand and I don't feel bad. But I'm definitely trying to be more reflective on my shelf and keeping books that I enjoyed, like keeping books that are 3 stars and up, if that makes sense. Some 3 stars, I don't think I'll like them enough to keep them, and I'll try and give them a better home to someone who will enjoy them and want to reread it constantly, because I kind of think I want a shelf filled with books that like warm my heart, and to me that's a book that I want to reread. Like, I'm looking around behind me, and the books, especially the books that are facing out, like Dear Justice, Piecing It Together, Tiffany D. Jackson, all these, there's a Jacqueline Woodson book that's facing out. Those are all books that really touched my heart and I want to reread them. And I just get sucked into this book buying stuff, and I know a lot of people feel that pressure, and I'm trying to just release it. Like, girl, no stress. Only buy a series that you have been reading consistently, and then rereading them every time a new book comes out. That's always also really fun. But yeah, but not taking it so seriously. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm not up on the trends of Booktube, or if I'm really behind and haven't read the Hunger Games yet. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, no one cares. Like, no one cares. Maybe you care. I really hope you don't hate me for that. I'm not saying it's a bad book, and I'm not saying I'll never read it, but it's just not the priority right now. I have so many books and authors that make me happy that I need to get on to, and that make me excited to read, and that's what's important. I think your bookshelves should excite you to read, and there's still some on the shelves that aren't as exciting, but I'm fixing it slowly but surely, being more intentional with my bookshelf. We'll see. If you guys have any tips, also comment them down below. It'd be nice if we helped each other in the comments down there. That's it for today's video. Ooh, the sun is shining. Comment if you enjoyed this video, if you liked it, how you feel about it. Do you do book unhauls, or do you just keep every book? Even if you gave it like a 1 star or DNF'd it, do you keep it? I'm curious. But yeah, make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, so I know what you like and know what to keep making. And subscribe if you did like it, because you know what? You don't want to miss my new videos, obviously. Look at that sun, obviously. Okay, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope this video gave you a little more sunshine, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Also, if you want, you can support me on Patreon.